everyone, this is Intuitive Edge. Welcome to my channel once again. This is where we take an intuitive look at what's going on in our world. So I want to take a look at Three Gorges Dam on the Yangtze River in China. They've had a lot of flooding recently, and in the last week, they had some deformation, they call it, to the dam itself. And there is speculation that the dam could give way and breach, fail, and the problem is that there are some cities downstream from this dam that would be in the immediate path if any flood were to occur or if the dam was to fail, including the city of Wuhan. So very interesting. So I took a look at the cards on this and want to share with you some things that I got intuitively. So I spent a bit of time on this, looking at different spreads and using different decks. So I wrote some things down and I'll share that here, what I got. So initially, what I got was an assessment or measurement or gauge that was being done. This was like in the past position. So somebody or a group maybe had gone to do some assessments, some measurements to measure things, and there was a sense of urgency coming on the heels of that. Like somebody went in, they took some measurements, came back, and it spooked them or whatever, made them nervous, so they went back to reported this information to maybe a higher up, and that message was kind of not completely discounted, but kind of like, you need to go back and remeasure. Like there's something in your measurements that wasn't right. So that person was kind of like, they thought that they were like sounding the alarm, go to your higher up, and the higher up is like, it sounds like your measurements are off. You need to go back and remeasure. So that's the sense I was getting with it. So someone was being offered, go back, take a look at it again. Almost felt like kind of a roadblock. Like the one person was like, I'm sounding the alarm, and got deflated just a little bit. Not that there wasn't concern, but deflated. Okay, so this is what I'm getting intuitively, okay. So in a couple of the spreads I did, one of the questions was about the people that were directly possibly in harm's way if this thing was to give way. I got a sense of a false sense of security, or like a feeling almost like apathy, kind of like, well, we can't do anything. It'll be okay, kind of like telling yourself it'll be all right, but not really. A lot of pessimism, and a sadness, but a reluctance to improve the situation. I think most people don't really know or sense kind of what could happen, and they just kind of want to just go about their business without taking that into account. So one of the questions I asked is what should be done, and I drew two different decks, so two different cards on that. I got a card of being aggressive, and also a card of the reversed Hierophant, which is about breaking free of conditioning. Now, what's also interesting is I pulled the conditioning card on the outcome, and I used that on my Zen Tarot deck. And I want to read it because this was really interesting to me. Okay, so the conditioning card I think would be the same as the Devil card in regular tarot. So this one says, this recalls an old Zen story about a lion who was brought up by sheep and who thought he was a sheep until an old lion captured him, took him to a pond, and showed him his reflection. So it goes on, many of us are like this lion. We have the image of ourselves that comes not from our direct experience, but from the opinions of others. We have a personality that's imposed from the outside, and it replaces individuality that grows from within. We become just another sheep in the herd, unable to move freely and unconscious of our own true identity. It's time to take a look at your own reflection in the pond. Make a move to break out of whatever you've been conditioned by others to believe. Dance, run, jog, whatever is needed to wake up the sleeping lion within. And that's interesting because I was getting this sense of feeling like, well, there's nothing really I can do. It's being handled. So I think that the population is not quite on board with what the potential or possibility could be. All right. So as I went deeper with this, I got some other information that was interesting as well, I think. And that was, I asked 3 specific questions. I wanted to know, is the dam going to hold? Is it going to breach? Is it going to completely fail? So when I tuned into that, I got the sense, I kind of went back to what I was sensing before with somebody who took measurements, went back to someone else, said, hey, I'm worried, kind of was poo-pooed a little bit. Now, I got that there is some issue with the structure, but not the integrity of the dam. This was kind of weird to me. When I sensed into the dam itself, I got a real sense of strength. I felt like it going into the ground and being very solid and very strong. And I got this sense of, even with like the sense of water pushing against it, it felt very strong and very grounded and solid. And I felt that I felt like there was some type of historical reference or marker, and I felt that the certain problem that they're having, the deformation, is not off by as much as is being said. Okay. And I got that if you were to go back in history, that there's like, say, I hope this makes sense. So say 50 years ago, someone took measurements, and then after that, they built off of those same measurements to look back at how much things have shifted. But somewhere along the line, it felt like there was like a tiny miscalculation, not big, but just like a decimal point or something was just barely off. But over time, since that, it's like every measurement since then would be exponentially greater than the last. I hope this makes sense. And so I got that calculated out, that exponentially it looks worse because of the time that's passed since the initial miscalculation. But in reality, the change is lower than what is stated. Okay. Now, that's not to say that there's not an issue with this dam possibly having a problem, but there is some truth to the numbers not quite being what they say, or somebody's trying to say, hey, it's this, but the person that was the initial roadblock that said, I think your numbers are off, they're kind of right too. So there could be a little bit of both going on. Like there is definitely, I think, there are, I think, some pictures that people have seen where there's supposedly, like on the periphery, there's a deformation of some kind. But it also feels like there's calculations that were wrong that might make it sound worse than it is. Okay. So when I specifically asked if the dam is going to hold, I got a major arcana, the magician card. And when I asked if the dam will breach, if there's an issue there, I got the possibility card. So while I felt like the structure itself, like the center, it felt like it went down and was very, very solid and strong, there could be some issues with that periphery area that might have issues. But I don't sense like an imminent disaster. It didn't feel like that. I kept asking, and I kept getting cards that just led me to believe that it wasn't like this imminent, like, horrible disaster. But there is a possibility that there could be some issues. So, all right. When I asked about the deformation itself, I got the Lover's card crossed by the Judgment card, which made me kind of pause. I went, oh, okay. So this feels like maybe it is a little more serious than it looks. And then I also got the Tower underneath that. So there could be some issues coming up. Whether it's going to be like a full-blown cataclysm, I don't think that. That's not the sense of the vibe I got with it. But there is the potential or possibility. So when I asked if the dam will breach, fail, if that is imminent, I got the Two of Swords reversed. It kind of felt like that was like a no to me, having that swords in the reverse position. I got an Ace on the next upright is, will the dam hold until a fix or repair? And that felt positive. Ace of Cups on that. And is anyone in immediate danger? And I got the Security card. So, I don't sense that it's like an imminent threat or like it's gonna go, but there are some issues with it that need to be addressed that could possibly cause problems in the future. So anyway, I hope I explained that okay. And again, I don't know how that all fits together with the measuring and what I was seeing. But it did feel like there was kind of truth on both sides. There's reason for alarm, but not as much alarm as some are saying. But it's not completely out of the woods either, because, sometimes what comes out of the Chinese government, they like to save face and they're not going to always tell the truth. That seems to be consistent with that regime. So I won't trust them to go, oh yeah, we have this horrible problem. They would probably try to do something in the meantime, maybe move people out of the way or something, or try to do it quietly, rather than draw attention to themselves in a negative light. But anyway, so that's what I get on this. So we'll see. Hopefully that there's not a huge deluge or problem. There's potential for it, I think, but I kind of got the sense that there's like a divine, like a hand kind of holding things back, like some type of force, divine, like keeping things in check for now. I don't sense it's going to be like a cataclysm. I hope that I'm right on that. But anyway, that's what I get for this. Hope you're able to follow that one. It was a little convoluted trying to, explain what I was seeing, but anyway. All right. Thanks everybody for watching. We'll catch you next time. Bye for now.